Hello, everybody, and it is showtime. Welcome to the Street Angel Show. I don't know why, but I feel a little nervous tonight. I don't know what it is. Like, the anticipation was killing me. I think my show might be too late in the evening, too. I feel like I'm like cracking out or something. Just kidding, I don't do that. But anyway, so I have a really amazing topic today. But first, let me officially introduce myself in case you just happen to have never seen me before. I'm Mandelyn Reese. I'm known as the Street Angel. I've run around the country for 8.5 years wearing angel wings and promoting kindness and positive messages. For instance, be kind, be giving, that kind of thing. This is like kind of my norm, kind of along those lines stuff. But I have a special poster I want to show you. Make your courage greater than your fears. And this is important because we're going to be talking about times in life when it's okay to not be kind. I don't know how long the show is going to go. It kind of just depends how much I ramble on and go off on tangents. You know you love it. So, so purpose of my show is to help others and enlighten people and give good advice and guidance however I can. I hope you get a golden nugget of wisdom to take home with you and remember and teach your kids someday. So if I look down, it's because I have this really extensive pile of notes and I really want to say like every little thing on these notes. So if I'm looking down a lot, it's because I'm literally trying to not miss anything. It is this important. So I want to go on with saying, when is it okay to not be kind in life? So you might actually think that some of this stuff is common sense, and it is. But you know what? There's people out there that are either uneducated or they're not sure what to do, or maybe there's just some flat out dumb people. I don't know. I'm just kidding. That's not kind. But you know what I'm saying, right? So I'm feeling kind of feisty and maybe a little bit humorous. But this is actually a very serious topic. So, okay. With our brain, when we're developing in the womb, in your mother's stomach, the first part of your brain that really develops is the reptile brain. It's your very primitive part of your brain, and all it really cares about is survival. And in this part of the reptile base of your brain is fight or flight. So, when you're encountering an issue or situation where you're under attack, that's going to trigger your reptile brain, your fight or flight. And if you are gifted with certain amount of higher consciousness, it can definitely help to make your choice. But oftentimes when you encounter these challenging, unique situations in life, sometimes you might only have seconds or moments to decide what to do. And I just want to say a disclaimer. I'm just giving random advice. It's not necessarily correct or the best course of action. It's just stuff to think about and hopefully can prepare you if you do happen to encounter a challenging situation that puts you in this position of fight or flight. So let's talk about the different kinds of defense. So we're going to be talking some about self-defense of yourself and defense of others. And it could be, verbal or physical. We're just going to kind of stick to those broad kind of things right now. So, let me just make sure I'm crossing off everything here. So it could be verbal, physical, depending on, the type of attack and the level of the threat and the force that's used. And other considerations, how equipped are you? What is your physical condition? Were you taken by surprise? Did somebody, sneak up on you? Or did you kind of feel it building up? Is it like coming, with like a fight you feel is brewing with somebody at a bar or something like that? Or you're witnessing somebody fighting or, escalating. And, your body's going to be giving you these signals, your energetic signals. Do you have the ability to fight you know, whether with your tongue, it could be a verbal debate, you know, whip out your lawyer skills, or could it be, you know, where you literally have to fight somebody physically? God, I hope you don't ever have to do that, but it can be very terrifying, and there are a lot of stories out there. I mean, if you ever like binge watch YouTube videos, you get kind of like traumatized because you're like, holy crap, there are so many bad things that happen, and you need to be like hyper vigilant all the time. So yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, go binge watch some YouTube videos and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Well, all you have to do is look at the news, and then, yeah, you'll understand. So are you outnumbered? Or, you know, is there more people attacking, or is it just one person? And do you have anything to defend yourself with? We're talking about maybe like weapons of any kind, or, you know, some things that are just objects can be turned into weapons, right? There are reasons that there are self-defense laws. Like the law recognizes that, you know, when people are under attack, you might have an actual instinctual response to fight back, and, you know, self-preservation, protect yourself and or your home or your loved ones, your spouse, your kids, your whoever. And it could even be against an animal. What if, you know, if you're on a jog and a, you know, mountain lion comes out and wants to chomp on your dog or something, you know, what are you going to do? So first things first, I really recommend that people carry something. Carry like mace, a legally sized knife, and that is the thing. You can look up the size and you can buy like a little pocket knife or some kind of little blade. But it's better to have things and not need it than need it and not have it. If you're legally certified to carry a gun, you can do that. You know, I recommend you get the thorough training and know how to actually use it before you engage with that kind of a weapon. You know, it's very powerful and loud and has a recoil. And if anyone is interested in gun training, you know, and you're local to Texas, let me know, because my dad is actually a gun instructor and a world champion. Don't mess with my dad. So anyway, also, so disengaging from a situation and running away, fleeing, is okay. That's flight, fight or flight. So you can fly away, just get away from the situation, and that's okay. Safety first. You know, a lot of times the threat will be gone or neutralized if you just remove yourself from the situation. So we're also going to be talking about bullying. You know, I've been an anti-bullying advocate all these years. A lot of my posters have actually said, you know, stop bullying, be kind. And, you know, bullying is really tricky because bullies like to take you off guard. You know, they'll just like blurt out something and like really traumatize you, and you're kind of like startled. And in that same thought pattern, fear can actually be paralyzing, and it really sucks. Like, you know, one time I was going up to my door with my keys. My car was like 2 feet from my front door. It was my old house. Like it was really close. But this dog came up and like barked violently at me, like right by me, scared me half to death, and I froze. Like I've never experienced that before, where I felt like I was paralyzed and like I literally couldn't move because it scared me so bad. And I think I dropped my keys, but luckily the neighbor called the dog away and it like took off and left me alone. But in that split second, I was terrified, I was unprepared, and I was paralyzed. So that could have been a very bad situation, and I'm very lucky that I was not attacked and bitten and, you know, by this dog. But it's just an example of fear can be paralyzing. But it's good to at least carry something, like, you know, to have with you. You know, what if the dog had attacked me? At least I have like a knife and mace I could try to get to and try to employ on the dog. So that's just an example. Personal story, true story. But, you know, recognizing the situation and how to respond is key. And, you know, the higher consciousness choices can help. You know, if it comes to a bullying situation, it's tricky because whatever you say or do, that will have a reaction from the bully as well. So you have to be conscious of what you're saying, how your body language, what to say, the level of threat with the person. Let's say it's a scrawny little person who's throwing a verbal threat, you might not be that afraid of them. But if it's like the Hulk and we're talking about a 6'6" dude with muscles spewing out of his shirt, you might have a bigger feeling of threat, right? We're just talking about level of threat. That's it. So let's say with bullying, you might be able to do a mirror technique, mirror their behavior or their words like back to them to show them, you could even ask them, hey, why are you being this way? Why are you saying this stuff to me? And if they keep, going at it, some people will cuss back, and that's not always the best thing to do, just because that could actually escalate. If you're throwing back the same energy and then you keep raising voices, or the bodies get more tense, and then next thing you know, fists are flying. So that disclaimer, that is a possibility. And that's what I'm talking about with, you got to be careful with reactions, and fight or flight. You can run away, you can disengage, just take yourself out of the equation is an option. And that could be a higher consciousness choice, to just walk away and not engage with a fool like that, because it could literally end up hurting you or costing you your life in some cases. But it's better to at least have something. Other than bullies, attackers could be burglars. They break into your house, they don't realize you're home. Suddenly you're put in a position where you have to, possibly fight for your life. And that is a life threat, because you don't know what burglars are capable of. And there have been YouTube videos in the news of burglars killing people they didn't realize were home. And so burglars are a threat. Could be a robber just straight up robbing you in the street or a dark alley. Rapist, sexual attack, sexually motivated attack, a general attack or assault, bar fight, anything, road rage, domestic violence. And that's tricky, because, if you really if you're in a relationship with someone you love and they're attacking you, that is a very extreme, sad, and tricky situation to have to deal with. And I feel very sad for people that have to deal with that kind of thing. A lot of victims love their abusers, and they will keep putting up with it and putting up with it. And the abuse will typically escalate over the years. And, oftentimes it ends in death, and it's very sad. And it can go both, any gender situation. It could be a woman abusing the man. It can be LGBTQ situation. I mean, domestic violence doesn't have any, trait exactness. So bullies could be parents, siblings, classmates, coworkers, your significant other, boss, neighbor, even so-called friends. I had people I thought that were my best friend pick on me in middle school, and like mean stuff. And it's like, it wasn't until I was a lot later in life that I looked back and I was like, damn, I got kind of bullied, and I didn't even realize it. I just thought that was really mean, and I don't understand why you did that. But later in life, when you learn what bullying is, then you kind of can recognize, oh wow, I was subjected to bullying. And that's, bullying is very hurtful. Words can be just as damaging as rocks and sticks and knives and weapons. Words can go into your brain and circulate your entire life like a broken record, and just hurting you over and over for the rest of your life. And that's where therapy can really help you if you had an abusive person in your life that hurt you when you were a child, because that causes insecurities in your, in your stomach, your solar plexus chakra, and it's stored there, and you just feel like you're not good enough, and it will just keep showing up in your life over and over. So yeah, I mean, words are very damaging. And if you can stand up for yourself, try to be really assertive and stand up for yourself and say things that will try to show them up, or bring your intellect into the situation as high as you can. If you're able to stand up for others that you see are getting bullied. Again, it could be a risky situation. You never know what the bully is capable of doing or reacting, but I recommend trying to stand up for other people. I have a little story about that. I like sharing my personal experiences just to show my point. This one day I was leaving a volunteer charity event that I had done at a school. I was walking to my car. This was in Los Angeles. And as I'm walking down the street to my car, I could hear this lady like hollering and yelling and cussing. And I'm like, what? And I look up, and I see she's this old lady standing in, like, well, not old, she's probably in her 50s. She's like standing on a balcony, and she was yelling down at this Hispanic guy who had just parked a work truck. He looked like he was going to do some maintenance for something, and he had just parked behind this lady's car, or in front of her. Sorry, he'd like parallel parked in front of her, and she was like cussing and yelling and chewing him out and saying all kinds of mean, hateful things, and that he parked like crap and couldn't drive, and his truck was a piece of crap, but using like mean cuss words. And I'm looking at the situation, right? And like her car wasn't even blocked in. Like she had this like 10-foot section of street behind her car that she could easily get out. I don't know what she was yelling about other than maybe she thought he was too close to the front of her car. But like she had all this area. So anyway, I heard her chewing this guy out, and he just looked so forlorn. Like his face was just like sad. And I like looked up at her and I said, "Hey, that is not a very nice thing to say." And you should have seen the guy's face. The way he looked at me, like he was just so grateful that I had stood up to her for him, like, and said that on his behalf. Like I felt like I made him feel better, and kind of shifted the dynamic a little bit. I turned it around on her. So she kind of started yelling at me, and I just like blew her off and like got in my car and left. But his face really made it worth it for me, like, because I could tell that he appreciated that somebody saw his plight and actually spoke up. So that's a real life example of, standing up to bullies. Say something to them, point out their behavior is rude or cruel or mean. Like, why are you saying that? That's not kind. Stand up to bullies. And especially online. You know what? Bullying is running rampant online right now. And I do not hesitate. If I recognize bullying, I will say something to the bully like, "Hey, that is not nice. Why are you attacking this person?" Like, we need to call people out, because online bullying, like it's going rampant because it's easy for people to just say things and attack without hardly any repercussion. They're not in person, so they can't get slugged for saying mean stuff or bullying a person, right? So it's really like you just have to like call them out, block them, that's report them, whatever tools you can do, but try to stand up for people if you see them getting bullied. We need to like, stop this stuff and cut it down and just do what you can. Okay, so where did I leave off? Oh yeah. So there's some really extreme examples of like things that have happened with self-defense. So a couple of extreme examples that were just recently in the news. A martial artist, so a guy who's really trained in self-defense, he killed 3 attackers that were attacking him. He had those special moves, and he, Jackie Chan their ass and laid them out. So he got off because it was a self-defense thing, and he did get out of it, as far as I remember from the article. And then another situation, it was a domestic violence issue where this man broke into his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife's mother's home and he just goes in through a window and starts beating on his ex-wife. Well, the mother and sister of the wife are home, and they, hear the commotion. They end up going to the chick's defense, and they killed the guy with whatever they had on hand. I think they beat him with some kind of stick, or like they had whatever, or a kitchen knife, like they came to defend of their loved one, and it was perfectly legal. They faced no charges because this guy was beating her to death. He was a threat. He broke in. He was against the law in 50 different ways, and he deserved it. He had it coming. So there's reasons that the laws will protect self-defense as long as it can be proven, and you know all the witnesses and all that good stuff. I want to recommend to ladies especially, don't go out jogging alone. And if you do, don't wear earphones where you can't hear your surroundings, and you can't hear somebody running up and to attack you from behind. You need to be aware of your surroundings at all times. Especially don't go do it at night alone. Like, to me, that's a common sense issue that women just shouldn't be running out alone in the dark, or like with distraction where I'm not victim shaming at all. I'm just saying, don't put yourself in dangerous situations. And if you're gonna do it, at least carry some mace or a knife, or carry something where you're not completely defenseless, or be trained in self-defense. I have taken a self-defense course. So, at least I have a few moves in my head, like I've memorized, that could help me, I hope. I mean, I hope to God I never have another situation that calls for self-defense or being terrified, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it's better to be prepared. So I want to just keep pushing, carry something, because if you have that moment where you're going to wish you had something. And buy your kids, like especially teen daughters or something, buy them some mace, teach them how to use it and to be careful with it, that it's a special self-defense tool. Now, it is illegal to just deploy it for fun, and to spray it for fun, or to joke, or it's a real thing. It's a real self-defense weapon. In fact, it has saved me once before. I had to mace a person, and I will tell the story because I love to tell stories. So I was actually a nanny for a little while. I don't know how I got myself into such a weird disaster mess, but I was only like 19. I was in my early years of college. Somehow I got talked into being a live-in nanny to these two teenagers, a brother and sister, 15-year-old boy, 14-year-old girl, in this house alone, while the mother took off to LA. And so I was like this mother figure. Well, the boy ended up getting into like weed and drugs or something in the neighborhood, and running with kind of a sketchy crowd. So like one time I was up in my room just doing my college homework, and I could hear talking out in the front. And I look out the window, and the teen boy, let's just say his name was Jay, he was talking to his neighborhood friend, and he was like showing his friend a joint. And I was like, haha, busted. But I mean, I was like, well, I'm not going to like yell at him about it. What can I do? But as I'm sitting there watching him talk about to his friend on the front, this car pulls up, and this big kid jumps out and just starts beating on the guy that I nanny, right? So I was like, oh my God. I went into fight or flight mode, like fast reaction situation is happening right before my eyes. Luckily, I carried mace in my purse. I went straight to my purse. I grabbed my mace. I kind of hid it in my hand like that. I ran downstairs. I didn't even have shoes on, but I ran out the front door. But I tried to not look threatening once I got out to where they were. I tried to walk casually with the mace hidden in my hand. And I walk up to him. By the time I got up to him, it was more of a verbal dispute of like, are you talking crap about me? And the kid I was watching, Jay, his face was all welted and beat up, and he was crying. And like, anyway, I could tell the kid was getting ready to throw another punch. Well, I put that mace right up to that dude's eye, and I let him have it. And I maced his eye, and he flew the coop. So he starts running around like a chicken with his head cut off in the street. Well, unbeknownst to me, suddenly I hear some voices, "Get that bitch!" And like I look over, there were a bunch of dudes in the car, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I grabbed the kid I'm nannying and I hauled his butt into the house and locked the door just in time. I hear a smash, and like they had thrown a brick through the glass door. So anyway, ended up calling the cops, making a report, and but the mace saved the day. The mace changed the dynamic, shifted the situation. We were able to get out of harm's way. I was able to get him out of getting beat up or killed. I don't even know. I mean, that was a whole group of dudes in that car. I don't know how that could have escalated to. I saved that kid. Anyway, so yeah, mace is a good thing to have in a situation, whether it's to protect yourself or protect someone else, like what happened with me. So I hope you're enjoying my true life stories here. I'm trying to keep it entertaining for you. So yeah, make sure you buy your kids mace and teach them how to use it. And it's better to have it not need it than need it not have it. Okay, what else do I need to go over? Actually, I think that was it. Oh, one more story. Yeah, this is like a really crazy one. Save the craziest for last. So I saw this YouTube video. So this chick, she was I guess she was like a masseuse or something, an escort. I don't know, but she worked out of her house, and she had her ad up, and she was expecting a client, and he was acting really weird on the phone, and he kept calling her and calling her to like try to get directions because he was like, I guess he wasn't using GPS or something. Anyway, so this client gets to her house, right? And she lets him in, and before she knows it, he pulls out a gun and he says, "Live or die," and he like starts attacking her, and like she decides in that split second, fight or flight. She was a fighter, and she started struggling with him and kicking and just doing everything she could to get out of his grip, and he kept trying to like grab her and drag her back to the door, to take her out. He was trying to drag her. Well, in that struggle and her putting up a big fight, he had set his gun down on the table. Well, at one point she managed to kick him enough to where she was able to turn. She saw the gun, she grabbed it, and she like shot back behind her like this, boom, made herself deaf in the process, but she killed the guy. His body went flying back against the door and hung on the doorknob. So turns out, she calls the police, they come, they're processing the scene, they arrest her and take her to the station thinking, she just killed a guy. But when they were processing the scene and they checked this guy's car, he had a serial killer kit. He had a big tub in his back seat that he was going to put her body in. He had this whole elaborate torture kit and handcuffs and tape and zip ties and just every imaginable thing. Like he was a killer. And she turned the tables and fought back, and she managed to save herself. Terrifying situation. I'm sure he ended up with post-traumatic stress, but she handled it with such grace. Like in the interview, like she just had so much grace about her and the way she talked about it. She even was like, I'm sorry to the man's family, but he attacked me. She, like, it was like such a graceful thing to say after going through something like that. She was a survivor, She was lucky that she was able to get herself defended out of that situation. So I'm going to move into closing up this topic, but I wanted to say if you appreciated my show, I would really appreciate donations that just show you care or keep me going. Or sponsor. I wouldn't mind talking about other people's products, if I like them. I have products as well I would love to show you. I have an angel card deck for sale and a meditation healing CD. So it's like this one will clear your chakras and heal you up on all levels and has sound instruments. It's really beautiful. It's $25 in the USA, includes shipping. You can get it on my website. And my angel guidance romance relationship card. So This is a tool to help you make life choices regarding relationships and for your highest good. And let me know if you'd like to order those. I will have them for sale on my website shortly. If you would like life or love coaching, my coaching packages are on my website, thestreetangel.com. And I believe that wraps up for the night. It's a little bit of a shorter show just because I don't have a guest. It was literally just a topic that downloaded in my brain that I really wanted to address and share. I was going to try to find, somebody to interview about maybe a situation, but I just wasn't able to find anybody in time with a crazy story to share. So I just shared some from the news. But I hope you enjoyed the show. Donations are welcomed, and I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for tuning in and watching and supporting the Angel Mission. Everybody, be kind, but not when your life is in danger, okay? Everybody, good night and goodbye.